Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tammim bil khair. So inshallah, in this lesson we will learn about the nouns that are partially flexible, and in Arabic we call them غير munsarif. Uh, and these nouns basically they have two forms in three states. And then inshallah when we continue, we will also learn about the nouns that are fixed, and those nouns have one form in three states. So first one was munsarif, flexible nouns, and the second category is partially flexible nouns. Partially flexible nouns, and they are called غير munsarif. غير munsarif. So we can see over here that what is the meaning of غير munsarif? We need to know two things, very important things about غير munsarif. Number one, these nouns don't accept tanween. So the nouns that are غير munsarif, partially flexible, or in the real translation will be indeclinable. The indeclinable nouns do not accept tanween. So as we know that tanween means dhammatan, fathatan, or kasratan, they do not accept tanween. That's number one. Number two, these nouns do not accept kasra. So we have something over here now. So that's why we need to be careful. So these nouns, they are very powerful. So they say, okay, we know that harf jar is very powerful, but we are also very powerful, and we will not let harf jar put us down. We will be in the nominal case, but we will not let it reflect it to be with kasra. So what happens over there now? We can see over here that these nouns have two forms in three states. States are very clear. We know marfu and mansub and majroor. These are the three states. We know these states are very clear to us. What are the two forms? Now you can see over here, the two forms we can see over here, Ibrahimu, Ibrahima, Ibrahima. Now we can see over here, number one, condition number one, there is no tanween. Fulfilled condition number one. And condition number two, it is majroor, but it does not have kasra. So both of the conditions have been fulfilled. Now we can see over here. Let's look at the example over here. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And now we can see over here the ending of Muhammad is majroor because of ala. So here we can see over here ala Muhammadin wa ala Ali Muhammadin. Again, it has accepted kasra or kasratin. Kama sallaita ala Ibrahima. Now we can see over here that Ibrahima is majroor. Why it is majroor? Because it comes after the preposition. Now you can see it comes after the preposition, but it refuses to accept kasra. And that's why we call them partially flexible nouns. Partially flexible nouns. What happens with these nouns? They do not accept tanween and they do not accept kasra as of now. You know, exceptions are always there, but as of now, we need to know that these nouns do not accept kasra. So Ibrahimu is marfu, Ibrahima is mansub, and Ibrahima is majroor. But whenever it is after the preposition, we know that it is also majroor. But we will say it is majroor bil kasra or majroor with kasra. All right. So and the third category of the nouns is fixed nouns, mabniyun. Fixed noun, mabniyun. These nouns have only one form. So you see what's happening now? Three states, marfu'un, mansubun, majrurun. Three states are there. But what happened? We have only one form over here. So these nouns are the most powerful nouns. So in every case, they will be with, as we can see, the ending will be the same. For example, Musa is marfu, Musa is mansub, and Musa is majroor. So how many forms do we have? We have only one form, as we can see over here. It's Musa, and again we can see the one form over here is Musa, and again the form is only one. So now if we look at the example from the Quran, وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَى Musa. Now, can you please tell me what is the state of the word Musa? The state of word Musa? It is majroor. Excellent. Perfect. It is majroor. Why it is majroor? Because it is after the preposition ila. But can we see it? No, we cannot see it because we know that this noun is is fixed noun and it does not let us see the ending. So we will say that it is majroor, but we cannot see the ending over here. So now we can see that there are three types of nouns. They are flexible. That means they have three states and three forms. Then we have partially flexible. They have three states and two forms. And then we have the nouns that are fixed nouns, mabniyun. And why do we call them mabniyun? Because mabna means the building. And as we know, the building cannot be changed. We cannot move a building from one place to the other place. Similarly, the noun, they do not change. Their position does not change from one case to the other case. So that's why they will always be like this. The status changes, but we can't see the changes. For example, Musa, as we can see over here, it is in the place of Musa, so it will be marfu. So if you're talking about just a person, for example, your friend is Musa. So for example, you say Ja'a Musa. So you want to say Ja'a Musa, Musa came, okay? So when you say Ja'a Musa, now Musa is marfu over here. And when you say Ra'aytu Musa, when you say I saw Musa, Ra'aytu, so now here Musa is mansub. And when you say, when we have the verse of the Quran, وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَى Musa, now Musa is majroor over here, alayhi salam. So we know that if it's the name of any person, for example, Musa is any common man, we don't have to say alayhi salam. But when it refers to the name of Musa alayhi salam in the Quran, yeah, then we have to say Musa alayhi salam. So now we can see over here that it has only one form. Okay, now, as of now, I could see that there is some confusion. For example, I am a beginner. I don't know the case endings, and I don't really know the rules of the case endings. So how would I know if a noun is flexible or partially flexible, or the noun is fixed, mabniyun? So flexible noun, as we have seen, that it has three states and three forms. So that is easy to figure out. But the nouns that are partially flexible, they are difficult to recognize. We cannot recognize because the ending of the harf jar of the majroor does not change. So that's why there are some categories now. So if you memorize these categories as of now, as a beginner of the Arabic language, if you memorize these categories, you will be able to, inshallah, understand almost every word of the Quran, whether it is marfu, mansub, or majroor. So what are the categories? Let me tell you about the categories over here. First of all, names of prophets. Names of the prophets are ghayru munsarif. They are partially flexible. For example, Adamu, Ibrahimu, Ishaqu, Yunusu, and Yusufu. Can you see that they do not have tanween? Yes, they do not have tanween. Do they accept kasra? Let us look at the example if they accept kasra or not. So Adamu, Ibrahimu, Ishaqu, Yunusu, and Yusufu. And if you remember, I told you that we have to be always ready for the exceptions. Exceptions will always be there. So there are 6 names of the prophets, alayhimus salam ajma'in, 6 names of the prophets, and they will be flexible. So what are those 6 names of the prophets? We have to memorize them. Nuhun, Lutun, Hudun, Shu'aybun, Salihun, and Muhammadun, alayhimus salam ajma'in. So these names, they are flexible. So in the Quran, you will also see Nuhun. In the Quran, you will see Nuhan. And also in the Quran, you will see Nuhin. Lutun, Lutan, Lutin. Hudun, Hudan, Hudin. Shu'aybun, Shu'ayban, Shu'aybin. Salihun, Salihan, Salihin. And Muhammadun, Muhammadan, Muhammadin. One of the questions was like why Muhammadin is majroor and why it has kasratain, because it comes in the category of exception. So these 6 names of the prophets, if you can memorize these 6 names of the prophets, you can write them down and you can memorize them. Inshallah, your learning of the Arabic and especially learning of the Quran will become very, very easy. So the names of the prophets are partially flexible. They do not accept tanween. Yes, Muhammad is munsarif. As we can see over here, these 6 nouns are munsarif. These names of the prophets are munsarif. Munsarif means they do accept tanween, and also they have 3 states and they have 3 forms. 3 states and 3 forms. So number 1, names of the prophets. So now if you look at the verse of the Quran, we will only inshallah focus on the case endings, and the rest of the verse and the translation is over there. So we can see over here that Nuhin is over here. It is majroor, ila Nuhin. Can you please tell me why it is majroor? Because it is an exception. It's in the names. It's included in the 6 prophets whose names are included in the exception. So we have after ila, we have Nuhin. But then if you see over here after ila, what do we have? Ila Ibrahima wa Ismaila wa Ishaqa wa Yaquba. So all of them you can see here. Wa Isa, we know Isa over here alayhi salam is majroor, but we can't see the ending. Wa Ayyuba, we can see over here. Wa Yunusa, we can see the ending over here. Wa Haruna wa Sulaymana wa Dawuda. So now we can see all of them. Subhanallah, how many names of the prophets are over there? And there is only one exception over here, the name of Nuh alayhi salam. That is the only exception, because we know that this is flexible, or this is munsarif, and the rest of the names of the prophets, as we can see over here, all of them are majroor. How do we know all of them are majroor? Because they are coming after the preposition ila. All of them are coming after the preposition of ila. But we cannot see kasra because these nouns do not accept kasra. These nouns don't accept kasra. So that's why what happens, we will see only fatha, as you can see from the examples of the Quran. Yes, they're coming after the harf jar, but they do not accept kasra. That's why we call them partially flexible, that they have 3 states, but they have 2 forms. So Yunusu, Yunusa, Yunusa. Dawudu, Dawuda, Dawuda, as we can see over here. Okay. So the names of the prophets. Number 2, names of Arabic women. It includes all the women, but especially the Arabic women, or we can say the proper nouns. So we can see here Khadijatu, Aishatu. So whenever you listen to the hadith, you will always see it says an Aishata. It will never be an Aishati. It will always be an Aishata. If it is Zaydin, it will be an Zaydin. But when you can see over here, it's when the hadith is narrated by Aisha radiyallahu anhu, so anha, so it will be an Aishata, as we can see over here. So Khadijatu, Aishata, Zainabu, Fatimatu, and Maryamu, all of them are partially flexible, ghair munsarif, because they are the name of Arabic women. So wabi kufrihim, as we can see over here, B is harf jar, as we discussed today in the beginning of the lesson. Wabi kufrihim wa qawlihim ala Maryama. Ala Maryama. So is it confirmed? Now we can see over here that it was Maryamu, Maryama, and it does not accept kasra, even though it is after the harf jar. And why does not it accept kasra? Because it is mamnu min as-sarf. That's why we call them partially flexible. So we can see over here, marfu is Maryamu, mansub is Maryama, and majroor is Maryama. Okay, how do we know that these are Arabic names? It's a very good question. Most of us, inshallah, we will learn, of course, when our knowledge and our understanding of the Arabic language increases. However, you know that there are very few of them, or in fact, Maryam alayhi salam, her name is used in the Quran, very commonly used. We know the names of Ummahatul Mu'mineen. We know their names, alhamdulillah. Khadijatu, Aishatu. We know the names of the daughters of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So most of them, being Muslims, we already know, and the rest, inshallah, with experience, we will come to know about them. We don't need to worry about that. Our focus is Quran and Hadith, and as you know, in Quran, Maryam alayhi salam, alayhi salam, her name is used, and similarly, in the Hadith, Aisha radiyallahu anha, her name is used a lot, and also Khadija too, and similarly Zainabu and Fatima too. So as of now, we need to focus on the case endings, and inshallah, with the passage of time, you will definitely come to know most of the nouns, the names of the women are partially flexible, irrespective of the fact whether they are, even if it is Elizabeth, it will not take tanween, so they will not take tanween, whatever the names are. Names of angels. We have here Jibrilu, Mikalu, Harutu, Marutu, Israelu, and Israfilu. So we can see over here in the Quran, we have the example over here. We have Jibrila or Mikala. So Here we have the verse of the Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم من كان عدوا لله وملائكته ورسله وجبريل. So basically after man, as we know that so wa means and, so that means every noun is connected to the other noun. So because of harf jar li, it is also majroor, and it is also majroor, but we cannot see the kasra over here because it is mamnu min as-sarf. And similarly we have here ala al-malakaini, malakaini. Look here, aini malakaini. So why it is malakaini? Because of ala al-malakaini. Now you see over here, bibabila haruta wa maruta. So again here we have harf jar bi, and after harf jar bi we can say Babil. It's the name of a place. We will learn about this inshallah later, and we can see that haruta wa maruta, both of them are also mamnu min as-sarf. So the names of the prophets, the names of Arabic women, and the names of angels, as we can see over here. Then number 4, names of cities and countries. So we can see over here Makkatu, Misru. Makkatu, as we know, the name of the city. Misru, the name of the country. Babilu is the name of the place. In the previous verse we have seen Madiyanu used in the Quran, also name of the place. Lundanu or Londanu they call it, and Lahore, as we know that this city is in the UK and this is in Pakistan. So also the names of the cities are mamnu min as-sarf. Example from the Quran, wa ila Madiyana akhahum Shu'aiba. So again we can see here that after ila it is majroor, but it does not have kasra, so it does not accept kasra. And alal malakaini bi Babila. So as we know, Babylon is a place, so this place is also mamnu min as-sarf. So the names of the cities and the names of the countries. Question is, are these partially flexible because of harf jar, or these? No, these are exceptions. They cannot be partially flexible because of harf jar. Please remember one thing, that after harf jar, the noun will always be majroor. It will always be majroor. But the case ending, sometimes the case ending comes with kasra, but sometimes the case ending comes with fatha. So that's the only thing that we are focusing now. We don't need to worry about the letters or the particles over here. As we know, al-huruf al-jar. Al-huruf al-jar, they are amil. What they do, they bring the noun into harf jar. And we know harf jar is always with kasra, but as we know that these nouns are partially flexible, and these are the categories. The easiest way to memorize or easiest way to learn the nouns that are partially flexible is to learn like this, because there are long details like why a noun is partially flexible, and inshallah you will learn it at the end of book number 3. So that's why instead of going to book number 3, here I'm giving you some categories, and if you can memorize these categories, you will come to know that this noun is partially flexible. Number 5, masculine names that end with ta marbuta. So we know there's this rounded ta, so the masculine names that end with ta marbuta, for example, Talhatu, Hudhaifatu, Usamatu, Hamzatu, and Muawiyatu, they do not have tanween because they end with ta marbuta, as we can see over here. Similarly, you know, the names of Sahaba alayhi salam has not been used in the Quran except for Zaydun alayhi salam. Only Zayd alayhi salam, his name is used in the Quran, and we know that Zaydun is flexible, Zaydun, Zaydan, and Zaydin. And similarly, because the name of these particles is harf jar, they have a name, and their name is harf jar. So we cannot call them kalimatul jar, because kalima is a word. Kalima is not a letter. Kalima is a word. But here we are dealing with the particles. That's why in the first lesson I told you that huruf are 2 types. Number 1, huruf are used for construction. The letters like alif, ba, ta, tha up to ya, they are called huruf al-bina. They are called huruf of construction, and these are called huruf al-jar. There are many types of huruf, so that's why we need to be very careful that preposition in English, preposition in Arabic, it is translated as harf jar. So it's the name of these particles, and they are called harf jar. Similarly, the masculine names that end with alif noon, so Uthmanu, Salmanu, Imranu, Adnanu, and Sulaymanu. We can see over here that all of them end with alif noon, so that's why they are also mamnu min as-sarf. وَحُشِرَ لِسُلَيْمَانَ جُنُودُهُ. Now we can see over here, li is harf jar, and after this we can see Sulaiman because it ends with alif and noon. It is mamnu min as-sarf. So in the Quran, the Mus'haf al-Madina, you will see that this short alif is written like this. So the Mus'haf that we have like regular in the subcontinent, it might be written like this. But when we have the Mus'haf al-Madina al-Munawwara, then it will be written like this. So this is like short alif, which is also, we know that we prolong it for 2 seconds. So it will be وَحُشِرَ لِسُلَيْمَانَ وَجُنُودُهُ. So we can see over here as well. So masculine names. So this is basically number 5. I can see that we can categorize it 5 or 6, or yeah, because we have 2 different things over here. So the names that end with marbuta and the names that end with alif and noon, masculine names. And the last category, as we can see over here, is the miscellaneous nouns, different nouns. For example, Fir'aunu, Hamanu, Iblisu, Jahannamu, and Umaru. They don't fall into any specific category. And then the question will be the same, like, how would we come to know about this? And the answer will be the same with the passage of time. Once you get used to this, inshallah, you will not bother about it. But in the beginning, we need to know that these are also, you can say these are also exceptions, if you want to say. So now we can see over here, ila fir'auna wa hamana wa qaruna. So qarun is also mamnu min as-sarf. Faqalu sahirun kadhab. So we can see over here that Fir'aun, as we can see, and Haman, and also Qarun is not included over here. So you can extend your own list. So that's why you have to have a pen and a notebook. And what you need to do, whenever you come across a noun, you need to write down the categories, and you need to write down the names of the nouns, especially the nouns that are miscellaneous and they are partially flexible. So you can make your own list. And for example, I gave you the name of Fir'aun, Haman, and you can also add Qarun to that as well. So that should be added to your list. That's why it's a must that you have to have a notebook and a pen when you're learning your Arabic language. Iblisu, Jahannamu, and Umaru. So there are some specific reasons, but as of now, we will only say that these are like exceptions as well. All right, so then we are done with the categories that I told you. So can you type in the chat from first category, what are the categories that are mamnoon min as-sarf? The first one, does anyone remember what was the first one? The names of prophets, right? The first one was names of prophets. I don't see any answers, so please, yes, prophets, number 1. And there are exceptions, yeah. Number 2, quickly please, number 2, the names, feminine names, okay. Number 3, names of angels, excellent. Number 4, places, excellent. Names of cities and countries, places is done. What's next? Yes. Masculine names that end with marbuta and alif noon zaidatan, and then in the end we have miscellaneous nouns. And now something very special I must tell you. You remember we talked about there are 2 types of nouns. We talked about al-jam'u salimu wal-jam'u mukassiru, the broken plural. And you remember I told you that some broken plural, they do not accept tanween. So there were 3 patterns over there. You have to find out those 3 patterns, and you have to add those 3 patterns over here. So I'm giving you 3 patterns over here. 1, 2, 3 patterns are here, and 3 patterns you have to find out by yourselves from the category of al-jam'u al-mukassaru, from the broken plural. Okay, that's your homework. Okay, patterns are always fixed. Awzanun, waznun, and the plural of waznun is awzanun, and in English we say patterns. Patterns are always fixed. What does that mean? The vowel signs of the patterns never change. So the vowel sounds, for example, here we have af, alu. So what do we have? We have fatha, we have sukoon, we have fatha, and we have dhamma. So the pattern is fixed, it will never change. However, the letters will definitely change. Of course, the letters will change. How do we make the new words? Like in English, the spelling change, and similarly in the Arabic, the letters always change. So the pattern that I'm giving you over here is af'alu. So any noun that comes on the pattern of af'alu is mamnu min as-sarf. For example, akbaru, asgharu, ahmadu, right? So all the nouns that that come on this pattern. And how do we know what is the meaning of pattern? Here we see Hamza has fatha, and here Hamza has fatha. Here the second letter is sakin, here the second letter is sakin. Here the third letter has fatha, here the third letter has fatha. Here the fourth letter has dhamma, and here the fourth letter has dhamma. So any word that comes on this pattern will always be mamnu min as-sarf. It will not accept kasra. Exceptions are always there. Akbaru is the biggest. Then we have masajidu. As we know that masajidu, the plural of masjidun, so it's on the pattern of mafa'ilu. And then we have the pattern second is mafa'ilu. So you see ma and ma. It's not necessary that word has to start with ma. It can start with any other letter. But what's more important, that it should have fatha. So here it's a coincidence that both of them start with meme. So we have fatha and fatha here. Then the second letter has fatha and the second letter has fatha. The third one is alif and the third one is alif. The fourth one has kasra and the fourth one has kasra. The fifth one has dhamma and the fifth one has dhamma. So masajidu, and similarly we have ahmadu, and here we have manafi'u. Manfa'un, and then a plural of manfa'un is manafi'un, like benefit. And then we have mafa'ilu, and on the pattern of mafa'ilu we have masabihu, the lamps. Misbahun, lamp, and the masabihu. And tamathilu is used for the idols, the tamathilu, the ones that Ibrahim alayhi salam broke. So on the pattern of mafa'ilu we have masabihu and tamathilu. So these patterns, the noun will not accept kasra. Okay, you didn't get it. Okay, so first we have seen that there are some categories, and the categories, we have seen the names of the prophets and the names of masculine and the names of feminine, so and so forth. Now there are some nouns, they follow a pattern. What is a pattern? For example, we will say that af'alu is a pattern. So this is a fixed pattern. So any noun that comes on this pattern, for example, akbaru, af'alu, aslamu, ahmadu, asgharu. So any noun that happens to come on this pattern will be mamnu min as-sarf. Similarly, we have the pattern. The name of the pattern is mafa'ilu. So any word in the Quran or in the Arabic language that comes on the pattern of mafa'ilu, it will be mamnu min as-sarf, as we can see over here. And patterns do have meaning, of course. These patterns, okay, please remember one more thing. Yeah, it's not necessary that the patterns will have meaning. No, patterns definitely they don't have meanings all the time. But the words that we have on those patterns, they will definitely have meaning. For example, akbaru means the biggest. As we know, Allahu akbaru. Allah is the biggest. Allah is the greatest. So akbaru is the greatest. Mafa'ilu doesn't have any meaning, but masajidu has meaning, masjids. Mafa'ilu doesn't have any meaning, but masabihu, lamps, it has meaning. So the patterns, no, they are ozan. So there is no need to get into the meaning. They don't really have any meaning. They are for our convenience. That's just the convenience, that based on that convenience, we can simply, like figure out that the word is on this pattern. That's why it does not accept tanween. Mamnu is something that is forbidden. Sorry, mamnu min as-sarf. Mamnu, you don't really need to go into these details. Mamnu'an, something that is forbidden. So mamnu'an min as-sarfi, that means I give you a very easy translation that the nouns are either flexible or partially flexible or fixed. As of now, please focus on the English, and then the Arabic terminology, you will learn it with the passage of time. So nouns are flexible, partially flexible, and fixed. So we say munsarif, ghair munsarif, and mabniyun. And now we have some of the examples from the Quran. Wala dhikrullahi akbaru. So we can see over here that akbaru does not have tanween because it is mamnu min as-sarf. Similarly, we have over here, walahum fiha manafi'u wa masharibu. So now you can see the meanings over here. As I told you, manfa'un and the plural is manafi'u. There's the benefits. So we can see over here manafi'u, and then we have the noun masharibu. So we can see over here drinks. Okay. So what is the pattern of manafi'u and masharibu? Please write down in the chat. What is the pattern of manafi'u and masharibu? The pattern is mafa'ilu. Excellent. Mafa'ilu. So they are on the pattern of mafa'ilu. That's why they are mamnu min as-sarf. And not mafa'ilu. Mafa'ilu, there is no ya over there. There is no ya over there. So we have basically two patterns. Please don't be confused. So one is mafa'ilu. And if you want to make it easier, you can count the letters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So mafa'ilu has 5 letters, and mafa'ilu 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It has 6 letters. So you can always go by the letters. So this one has 5 and this one has 6. As of now, you can just simply count them. Excellent. Yeah. So we have 1, 2, 3 manafi'u. So alif is over here. So we can write it like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And similarly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means it's on the pattern of mafa'ilu. Excellent. And here we have the pattern, which is on the pattern of mafa'ilu. How do we know? Ma 1, sa 2, alif 3, ba 4, ya 5, and ha 6. So it has 6. So that means this is on the pattern of mafa'ilu. So وَلَقَدْ زَيَّنَّا السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيَا بِمَصَابِيحَ. So we can see over here, it's not bimasabihi, it is bimasabiha because it is mamnu min as-sarf. So this is the pattern, and we can see that the translation you can always see is lamps, masabiha. You know the surah we recited, alhamdulillah, every day, Surah Al-Mulk. All right, so this is everything about this lesson. However, you know that there has to be something which is called exception. Yeah. So we need to know something very important note. And the reason I want to tell you all these things, I do not want to leave you with the confusion. Maybe you open the Quran today and you see that something, there is a word, it is akbar, and it has kasra. Now you might be scratching your head, like we have learned today that the words that are partially flexible, they do not accept kasra. So why do we have kasra over here? So there is only one exception over here, as we can see. When al is added to partially flexible nouns, غير منصرف, they accept kasra. So there is a condition. What is the condition? When the al is added to partially flexible nouns. As we can see over here, dunal adabil akbari. Now we can see over here that it has finally accepted kasra. And why has it accepted kasra? Because it has al before it. So that is, you can see that is the only exception. So that's very, very important. As-sawa'iqu in the Quran, and we see min as-sawa'iqi hadar al-maut. Then so when it has al with that in the Quran, throughout the Quran, you will see that it's very simple rule. The noun that has al will accept kasra. So the noun that has al will accept kasra, irrespective of whatever category does it belong to. Yeah, of course, this is lam al-tarif or lam al-marifa, of course. Yeah. So whenever al is added to noun that is partially flexible, then it will accept kasra over here. And as we can see over here, before the greater punishment. Intaha ad-darsu walhamdulillah. So our lesson is finished. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.